agency, 2 or 3 teams get a quarterback. You don't trade him for the draft, another 5 teams get their quarterback. What happens? There's probably only 1 team left that needs a quarterback. There goes your bidding war. I could make an argument this is the perfect time to trade Deshaun Watson. Number one, he's coming off his best statistical year. What does that mean? His trade value's never been higher. It's only 2 years ago. People liked him a lot, but worried about his injuries. He wasn't an elegant thrower. Now he's off his greatest year. Number 2 is the Jets, Dolphins, and Carolina. You got a bidding war. You have a bidding war. Jets and Dolphins in division don't want to have to face him. They'd rather have him. Number 3, it's a very strong year for quarterbacks in the draft. Next year's a terrible year for quarterbacks in the NFL draft. This year's a great year. Number 4, Deshaun is completely healthy. Remember, and I've said this about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has 1 more injury. Deshaun has another injury. All of a sudden you get that narrative. Well, you know, his trade value, he is getting older. And number 5 is the Texans are rebuilding. They just let go of their center. They just let go of running back Duke Johnson. They've already said Will Fuller's not coming back. You're rebuilding. How do you rebuild? Draft picks. You'd get a boatload. You don't rebuild with free agency because free agents don't want to go to losing teams. So everything lines up. Remember, sometimes you just have to, in life, take the telescope and turn it. The pandemic's a great example. You can look at it every day as an obstacle or look at it every day as an opportunity because you're shut inside to be closer to your family. I mean, how are you going to view it every day? You want to be morose and you want to be negative, or you think to yourself, I'm going to get as close to my kids. We're off the treadmill. We're jammed inside. We can't go out. What we've tried to do in my family. The NFL is not the NBA. You see all the time in the NFL, you trade the star and you win the trade. That's how Jimmy Johnson built the Cowboys. Their best player was Herschel Walker. Jimmy Johnson decided on a jog in the afternoon, how do we rebuild this thing? He's our asset. Let's trade our asset. They ended up getting Pro Bowlers and draft picks. The New England Patriots, in 20-plus years of that dynasty, moved off stars all the time. It's not ideal. You'd rather have Patrick Mahomes forever. You'd rather have a top running back, Zeke, forever. But this is not the NBA, where if you lose a LeBron or a Kawhi, it's over. You lost the trade. It's just a matter of how bad did you lose it. That is not the NFL. Sometimes in the NFL, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. The Raiders did not get crushed in that Khalil Mack trade. Had they not whiffed on their first-round pick for a pass rusher, they would have gotten a Pro Bowl running back and a top 5 edge rusher. They just whiffed on their pick. So this game is not complicated. When a star wants out, the longer you wait, the less you get back. If you wait through free agency and don't take a call, you know, the Jets will get their quarterback or the Dolphins will get their quarterback or the Bills will get their quarterback. There's 3 teams off the market. Then in the draft, 4 or 5 teams off the market. Then you're left with no bidding war. You got maybe 1 or 2 teams max. It's the time. Turn the telescope around. Finally, a voice in Houston. Take calls, get it done. Deshaun Watson has reportedly told them, I will never wear this uniform again. Okay. Guys, if she says, I'll never, ever again come back into the house if you live there, it's time to call a divorce attorney. You got to get out of delusion. It's time to call the divorce attorney, and it's time for Houston to take calls. All right, so yesterday afternoon, I watched Milwaukee beat the Clippers. Clippers had the lead down the stretch and lost it. Giannis played very well. But it's interesting what is happening to the Clippers. Kawhi now shoots 28% from the field in clutch time this year. That's the worst in the league. Minimum 25 attempts, worst in the league. Paul George and Leonard were 0-9 in the last 4 minutes. It's interesting with Kawhi. He's what I would call a great mercenary, a plug-and-play guy. You bring him in, culture's already there. You bring him in, he gets a stop, and he gets a bucket. He's great at that. Darrelle Revis in the NFL was great at that. You brought him in for a couple years. He's a great corner, made your team better. But in San Antonio, the culture was built with Popovich and Duncan. In Toronto, very well run. Kyle Lowry was the leader. The culture was built. Raptors have been good for years. Then in Los Angeles with the Clippers, hey, Kawhi, build our culture. Okay, that's different now. We all get that's different, right? There's certain people in my business you can hire. They're funny. They're talented. You wouldn't build your franchise around them. And Kawhi is a loner. He's quiet. He's nonverbal. And we all know he's nonverbal. This is not a revelation, right? So there's generally two ways to lead. You're very verbal. You're very highly communicative. And if you're not, that would be preferable. You do like to talk and stuff. But if you're not, you lead by example. Well, we know Kawhi is not a lead verbal guy. Like, that's a given. He's very, very quiet. Almost odd in that sense. Okay, well, a lead by example guy. Well, that's not really him either. Lives in San Diego's, reportedly late to practice, load management, had his own trainer. Again, so he's not really a verbal leader, and he's not really a lead by example guy. Here's the thing, is that KD, Harden, and Kyrie, why is their chemistry so good? Because KD is a little bit more verbal, and KD understanding the burden or responsibility a star player has in any sport, Tom Brady in Tampa. When you come down and you're the star, there is a responsibility, especially as a veteran player like a Brady, a LeBron, a Kevin Durant. You're kind of the grown-up in the room. You're the highest paid. You're the grown-up. And Kevin Durant deserves a lot of credit for making this whole thing work, even if he's not playing all the time. There's a certain burden to be the second best player in the NBA. You go to Brooklyn, and you got to build this thing. And, I mean, Kyrie at one point just left, and they kept winning. And then Harden comes in. It's like one basketball. Kevin Durant deserves a lot of credit for this. Kevin's a guy among players. He's very respected. LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is quiet. That's okay. LeBron's the better player. He's very communicative. But Kawhi's the best player, like a Durant, LeBron, or a Brady, but he's nonverbal, and he's not lead by example guy. And I think the Clippers keep waiting for him to, create this culture. That's not what he does. I mean, remember last year, I was wrong on this. They had the best team. They had the deepest team, and the roster was ridiculous. It went like 9 deep. What was the thing they were missing at the end? Chemistry. Once again, what are they missing this year? They're bad at the end of games. That's chemistry. That's communicating, being verbal, understanding, not just talent. They had all the talent last year. So there's a big difference between being, like Mookie Betts went to the Dodgers. He's a great player and a culture setter. Mookie Betts, I mean, we had Justin Turner on. He's on us day one. Trevor Bauer, the pitcher, comes in. He's just great. You're not going to build a culture. We got the culture, dude. His personality's not built to build a culture. Mookie Betts is. And it's okay. Not everybody is both. I mean, again, Brady, LeBron, Mookie Betts, Kevin Durant. It's a short list. It is. I think Steph Curry's got this. It's a short list of great and great culture builder. And I think Kawhi is just great. And we saw it with Anthony Davis. He was great. You don't build your culture around him. He's not physically reliable. Kawhi is not sometimes verbally reliable. He's not physically reliable. So it's interesting to watch the Clippers yesterday, and so far this year, they're kind of melting down at the end of games. I think they brought him in thinking, okay, great player. And by the way, Jerry West, who had a say in this, most of the guys Jerry West brought in, Magic was a great player and a great culture builder. Shaq and Kobe are both guys. They're very communicative, great players. You could build a culture with them. Pau Gasol's another guy, verbal, self-aware. So Jerry West dealt with a lot of guys that were good at that. LeBron James, very much like that. By the way, he was in Golden State. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, very much like that. Kawhi's not. He's a mercenary. And those guys are great too. But don't expect them to build this alliance in the locker room. Simply not who Kawhi is. All right, so Michael Irvin, former Cowboy great, said it. He put it out there, and I think he's absolutely right. We'll talk about that. Colin right, Colin wrong, top of next hour. Plus, Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. We've all become a bit more familiar with home these days. There's more homeschooling. A lot of us have been working at home for long stretches. Now, thanks to Cremo, C-R-E-M-O, Cremo Barber Grade products, you can get the Barber Grade experience at home. Relieve beard itch, style, soften that coarse facial hair with Cremo beard care products. Variety of scents, cedar forest, wild mint. They have Cremo shave cream. It's like silk. Used it this morning. Gives you a close, comfortable shave while fighting razor burn. They have hair care products at Cremo. Barber Grade hair care products. Uncommon look and scents. Create your own Cremo, C-R-E-M-O, Cremo Barber Grade experience at home today. Real easy. Upgrade to Barber Grade at major retailers, Amazon, and CREMO, Cremo Company.